Hello, mathematicians. Welcome to another math lesson with me, Miss Taylor. Alrighty, so let's see if we're ready for math. Do we have our fact practice packet? Got mine here. Okay. Do we have our textbook? Check. Workbook. We're actually not going to use our workbook today. We're going to do something different. Paper, pencil, whiteboard. Let's see, yep, I've got my whiteboard, my marker, my pencil. Okay, all set. We are not going to use our place value chart today, so we don't need that. Alrighty, so let's take a look in our fact practice packet for today. We are going to look at page 7. On page 7, and we are going to do some adding with some regrouping. And again, that word regrouping, usually in our math curriculum and our math books, we call that renaming. It's kind of the same thing. Well, it is the same thing as regrouping. So regrouping, renaming, it just means kind of calling something a little different. So something different. So for example, if you had my face value little cubies, little pieces, there they are. Okay. So what that means is if you had a whole bunch of ones in your ones place, we're adding, and we can only have one digit in each place. So let's see, how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now it's okay if we have 9, right? Actually, I'm going to scoot some of these up so we have more space. We can have 9 in one spot in our place value chart because 9 is a one-digit number. So if we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's totally fine. We can have 9 in the ones place. But if we get to have too many, like this, we can't put a 10 in the ones place. We can't say, oh, this one is 10, and then this is a different number, and this is a different number. But what we can do is we can put, well, we can rename or regroup. So regrouping or renaming, which is really a fancy word for doing this. I'm going to take all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to, instead of calling them 10 ones, I'm going to call them this. I'm going to call them 110. But in fact, they're the same, aren't they? This 10 ones is the same as 110. But in our place value chart, we just write that a little bit differently. We write it as 110 and 0 ones. Now what that looks like on your paper, like for your fact practice, let's see. See if I can find one like here. 6 plus 4, we know 6 plus 4 is 10. So it's sort of like thinking about it as, whoops, if we put 0 here and 0 here, 6 plus 4 is 10, but we have to put a 1 in the tens place and a 0 in the ones place. So 6 plus 4 is 10. But remember, 10 is the same as 10 ones. So all of these 10 ones are the same as this. But we rename it. We rename these to be 110. So we're going to learn about that very soon, but I just wanted to draw your attention to those words, regrouping and renaming. It's just another way of saying 10 ones is the same as 110. So if you were wondering about that. Okay, we're going to do this 30 seconds, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes. You're going to try to beat your score from last time. Remember, you're competing only against yourself, though. So we want to try to do a little bit better than we did the time before. It's a really good thing to kind of keep in mind for math class and also just for life. We can try to compete against ourselves. We can do better than we did yesterday or the day before. But sometimes when we compare ourselves to other people, oh, what did you get? What did you get? Then that kind of causes some problems and it makes us feel kind of sad sometimes. So it's best just to try our best and to try to do a little bit better each day. So I'm going to let you work on this. You can pause the video if you want to work on it now, or you can do it after our video. That is totally fine. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and give this a little, let's see, I'm going to do a little pause. All right, so second graders, sorry about that little technical difficulty. We are back. So today we just finished our fact practice for today, and then what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little bit of practice solving some word problems. And so for this assignment, you will need your textbook. So this is textbook page 38. And what I'm going to have you do is you're going to do some of these problems on another sheet of paper. So if you just get another, like a blank piece of paper, it could be in a notebook or something. And then what I'd like you to do is to write at the top, this is textbook page 38. So at the top, we're just going to write, this is textbook page 38. And on textbook page 38, we are not going to do all of these problems at the top. If you wanted to pick a few of these to practice, you definitely could. What we're going to work on is our word problems, so numbers 6 through 10. So on your paper, would you please write a number 6, and then I would recommend maybe skipping 3 lines. So underneath, maybe 1, 2, 3, and then you could write a number 7, 1, 2, 3, skip 3 lines, write a number 8, 1, 2, 3, write a number 9, 1, 2, 3, and then number 10. And number 10 has 2 parts. There's an A and a B. And so let's go ahead and set up our paper like that. And then I'm going to ask you to solve these word problems. And because today we also have a quiz, we have a quiz today. We have a little quiz on the computer. It'll only be about 5 questions. But because we also have a quiz, but I do want you to do a little bit of practice with our word problems, I'm going to leave it up to you if you want to try all the steps to solve our word problem. Or today, if you just want to work your computation and kind of get the answer for today, that's okay, because I know you have a fact practice to do, you have your math quiz, and then Miss Taylor is asking you to do these questions. So we kind of have a lot to do today, and I don't want you to have too much. I don't want you to get too frustrated. But if you're feeling like, oh, Miss Taylor, that's no problem for me, I've got lots of energy and lots of fortitude, then go ahead and try all of the steps. You can use your little paper to help you. You can go through and read the problem and underline the question. Just use your finger. You can write an answer sentence. You can leave a blank for the answer. So you can go ahead and go through all these steps if you would like to. But because this is a lot for us to do, and normally we just do these on maybe a few problems, and here we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is kind of 2 parts, so 6. So again, you do not need to, but you definitely could. So I wanted to show you, so this is number 6. So you're going to look at number 6 on page 38, and you're going to read it, and then you're going to write your answer on a separate piece of paper. And if you wanted to go through all of the steps, you definitely could do that. I have a little paper here that sort of shows some of the steps that I took to solve this one. Let's see. So I'll use this. Okay. So for example, for number 6, it is about, it says after selling 245 buns, Mrs. Bates was left with 54 buns. How many buns did she have at first? Okay, so she sold some buns and then she had this many left. How many did she have at first? So that shows me that we're trying to find out how many she had at first. So if you wanted to go ahead and go through all the steps, you could write Mrs. Bates's buns if you wanted to. If you want to, maybe you just want to practice on number bond or a unit bar, you definitely could do that. And so we're trying to find out how many she had at first, how many buns she had at first. She sold 245, and then she still had 54 left. And so if I wanted to make a number bond, it would look like this. Or my unit bar, fancy name for a rectangle, would look something like this. Let's see, 200, oh, actually, no, that's not right. Magic eraser. Taylor has a little magic eraser for my blue pen here. Okay, I was gonna write 245, but 245 is not the total, it's not the whole number. It is actually one of the parts. 245, and then the other part is 54. And then my question mark is how many she had at first. And if you wanted to label it, this is how many she had at first. Let's see, she sold this many. She had 54 left. And then I can see the big number, the whole number is how many she had before she sold any. So how many she had at first. And then go over here, I'm going to work my computation. 245 plus 54. Then I can work my computation. Then I can go back and I can cross this off and make sure my answer makes sense. All of those good things that we could do. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to finish number 6. You're going to do number 7, 8, 9, 10. But before we go, I did want to point out one thing that we haven't really done yet. We have a problem where we're doing some comparing. So I just wanted to show you that. For number 7, when we're comparing two numbers, our unit bars look a little different. It says, in a class library, there are 568 English books and 204 Spanish books. How many more English books than Spanish books are there? And when we're using our little helper sheet, our word problem, steps to solve a word problem, usually when we get here, it says draw a unit bar, but there are some tiny words underneath. It says if you are comparing, draw a unit bar for each who or what. Put the bigger unit bar on the top. So I wanted to show you what this looks like because in number 7, we are comparing. When you're comparing, you're trying to find out how many more or how many less. And so with this one, we have a whole bunch of English books and 204 Spanish books. And we want to find out how many more English books than Spanish books are there. So what we do for that one to make our unit bar, well, actually, maybe before we do our unit bar, I should talk about our number bond. So if we're doing our number bond and we're trying to find out how many, let's see, how many more English books, the number of English books is kind of like our whole number. So 568, these are the English books. And we have 204 Spanish books. And we're trying to find out, so another way to think about it is we're trying to find out the difference between these two numbers. So how many more? In other words, we're trying to find out the difference between these two numbers. So this is what it would look like if we did a number bond. So the number of English books is kind of like our whole number. One of the parts is the Spanish books, and then the other part is the difference between those two numbers. In other words, 204 plus what would get us up to 568. But when we're doing a number bond, or excuse me, a unit bar, it looks a little different. And we are comparing two things. So sometimes when we're comparing, we draw two unit bars. Now, if this gets a little confusing, don't worry. This is the first time we've kind of thought about it, and we will do some more practice. But if you're a little bit panicking, don't worry, because I just wanted to show you this. So we have 568 English books. Let's see, is that right? Yeah. And we have 204 Spanish books. Now, when we do our unit bar, the next step after that, it says to reread the problem, adjust and chunk your unit bars. We've been chunking our unit bars, but we haven't really been adjusting them. And that means they need to be longer or shorter. And when we are doing comparing, like saying, well, how many more or how many less, sometimes it makes sense to make one unit bar longer than the other. You could also make the other one shorter. Because there's 568 English books and 204 Spanish books, what we're trying to find out is how many more of this one, how many more English books there are. And so where does our question mark go? Well, this is kind of the fun thing. We're going to do a little dotted line to show the difference. And inside our dotted line is where our question mark goes. So this is going to show us how many more of these books there are than these. So we're trying to find out the difference. And when we find out the difference, in other words, the missing part, we're going to subtract. So 568 minus 204. Let's see. I'm going to start at the top. 8 minus 4 is 4. 6 tens minus 0 tens is 6 tens. 5 hundredths minus 2 hundredths is 3. Let's see. Cross this off. 364. Would that make sense? That there are 364 more English books than Spanish books. Are there more English books? Yep. There are 364 more. Well, 364 plus 204 gets me up to this number. It's kind of like these two numbers added together make this number. So that is how you do number 7. So I wanted to show you that because we've never done that kind of problem before. So your job for today is to go ahead and finish numbers 6 through 10. And it is optional for today to do your number bonds and unit bars, but I definitely would like to see your answers. And you can take a picture of those and upload it. Good luck on the quiz today, second graders, and have a wonderful break. Today is kind of our last official math class before we have a long weekend. It's MEA break, and I hope you have a wonderful time. I know my family, we're going to go camping and get outside, and I just love to camp and get out there. So I hope you have a lovely time with friends and family, and I will see you again soon. Bye.